So there was a little Twitter back and forth that I want to jump into because it gets to a larger conversation about the election. Got to start here. Susan Sarandon tweets out, says, standing by proud socialist, who is Ryan Knight, and respect his courage in sharing his journey over the past few years. We need more Ryan Knights to stand up and speak truth to power every single day. Now, if you're wondering what the hell she's talking about, Ryan Knight recently came out and said he's not voting for Biden, making the case essentially in terms of why he can't vote for Biden. Now, I've made the case a million times. It's not a vote for Biden. You're voting for who you want to fight as president. When you have two choices this bad, you're not voting for who you like. In a primary, you get to vote for who you like. When you got these choices, voting is a tool. If you can't put all of your hopes and desires and dreams into a vote. That's not what it is. It's simply a tool. So based on the options presented, how you can use it, I think it makes sense to vote out the neo-fascist. Again, not voting for Biden, simply voting out the neo-fascist. But this is a fairly innocuous tweet. Nothing crazy here. Soledad O'Brien, someone who I have muted on Twitter, and I suggest you do the same, because she likes to hear the sound of her own voice, tweeted out saying, "Rich white lady reminding people of color why they shouldn't trust her take on anything." Now, this tweet, again, she's just standing up and saying, it's good to hear differing voices. What's the big deal here? This is where things get good. Susan comes back saying, "I said I'm voting Biden against fascism and for down ballot candidates who support Green New Deal, Medicare for All, and Black Lives Matter. After November, I will stand with Ryan to form a People's Party free from corporate and Wall Street ties. Maybe use your shaming energy to phone bank and ask Joe Biden to update his website." And I'm going to get into more of that in a second here. But this is the same approach that I would have, the same approach that Cornel West has, that Marianne Williamson have, where you can be openly critical and continue to be critical of Joe Biden and his horrible record, his inadequate platform, yet still understand you got to vote out the fascist. So while I respect Ryan Knight voicing his opinion and how he sees the vote, I don't see it that way. And I'm with Susan Sarandon here in what she's saying. But you see here already clearly shutting down this absurdity that is Soledad O'Brien. But watch what Susan Sarandon does here, because it really exposes how completely inadequate the Biden campaign is. And I discuss this all the time. People want to assume that the Democratic Party is always actively working against the left, which they are. Don't get me wrong, they are. But that, no, they're not inadequate. They're not horrible at strategy. They just rather lose the election than win. Which to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But putting that aside, look at how out of date Biden's organizing toolkit is. So Susan Sarandon tweets out here, "When you visit Biden's organizing toolkit and click on Direct Voter Contact Virtual Phone Bank Guide, you're taken to an old doc about how to persuade primary voters and caucus goers." The Joe Biden campaign has not even updated their organizing toolkit to address the fact that he is the nominee. This is just straight up incompetence. They have a ton of money that they could be pouring into organizing, could be attempting to pour into phone banking, getting people engaged, ensuring that they are ready to vote or have their mail-in, their early voting ready, whatever it is. Yet, it's a toolkit that references the primaries. On the same page, the Making Phone Calls toolkit takes you to links for phone banking, scripts, instructions, and checklists, all outdated and referring to the primaries and caucuses. Then the Hosting Events toolkit suggests hosting events, including debate watching parties, in indoor spaces like homes, coffee shops, libraries, in the middle of a global pandemic. The Team Joe app guide tells us we have the chance to nominate Biden as our next Dem candidate, and the link to the Biden app is dead. Also, the instructions about how to use the app are irrelevant because there's a new version of it anyway. This is just total incompetence. They have the money, they have the resources, and it shows you that if they lose this election, all the blame goes to the campaign. All of it. How are they not able to capitalize right now on this insane pandemic that Trump has completely botched, on the state of the economy, the eviction crisis, the fact that people are living paycheck to paycheck if they have a paycheck at all? Biden should be ahead by 20, 30, 40 points. But they can't even get their organizing toolkit updated. Total friggin' incompetence.